Let's talk about your company. So,
Sure.
how long again did you say you've been in business?
This is our sixth year.
Sixth year, and a lot has changed since COVID. Like, let's even talk pre-COVID. What was building pools like for you?
Well, I jokingly, maybe too often refer to us as a PCB, a pre-COVID builder. Um, but business was fine. You know, as a young company, um, the goal was to never just set the world on fire and, you know, build 100 pools in the first year. It was intentionally a slow, steady burn approach.
And about how many pools were you doing a year? What was the average price of a pool at that time?
Sure, I think the first year was 8 or 9 pools. One of them was a commercial remodel of a hotel pool, so it did have a
Okay,
large invoice attached to it, and from there it
right.
just kind of kept going up, and last year was the biggest for us so far.
Yeah. So pre-COVID, what was like if I'm a homeowner and I want to get a pool, what's that starting entry level price on the most basic pool that you would build me? And are you just doing concrete pools? Are you doing
No,
fiberglass?
we
What
do
does it look like?
fiberglass and gunite, primarily fiberglass.
Primary fiberglass. So what is like my entry point pre-COVID of like getting a pool with you guys?
Pre-COVID was probably in the $65,000 range.
Okay. So things have changed a lot since COVID.
They have.
We've got eggflation going on out there. People can't get eggs for more than or less than $7 for a dozen. Uh, that's not the only industry. I think pools from the contractors I've talked to, pools might be one of the most inflated, not just because of supply chain issues and inflation of prices on materials and labor, but also because demand is just like through the roof on the pools side of things. So, what's the entry point now if I want to build a new pool?
My generic answer that I usually tell people is our average project is about 75,000. And maybe now it should be more
Average
of a
project's about 75,000.
yeah, maybe now it should be 75, 80, but in that realm.
The Let's talk about the demand side. How many calls did you get during COVID about asking for a pool?
I couldn't count. I couldn't count. It was I definitely say that during that time you didn't have to work to get the work.
Yeah. Like if I'm a marketing guy and I called you up and said, "Hey, I want to run some ads for you," what would you say?
No. No, thank you.
No, I'm all right.
Yeah,
We're good.
exactly.
Yeah. Uh, did you have any issues with customers wanting a pool and then like not being able to afford it? Did that ever happen to you guys?
It happens. It does. But I think the consumers, there's so many resources out there to kind of start down that path of what it all entails that most consumers are pretty well educated by the time we get on the phone.
Let's talk about with that demand, some people in the market noticed that people wanted pools. What did you start seeing pop up overnight?
Uh, Everyone is a professional pool builder, and while that's fine, and there's more than one McDonald's, Burger King, Ron's Hamburger, you name it. Everyone thought it was going to be really easy. Uh, the checks would just fall out of the sky, and in many cases they did. But with that comes some problems.
Any stories that you have of like someone called you because someone bailed on a project?
No, quite severely. I won't say the customer's name. I did post it
Sure.
on Facebook, but there was a couple that had met us at one of our home shows, and they had decided, hey, we're going with Vista Pools, and that's our choice. And then over the weekend, they had talked to some other friends who knew someone who had used someone else, and so they decided, kind of last minute, to change gears and go with that contractor. I'm sure the price was lower, and well, several months went by, and they called back and asked, "Hey, could you come out and take a look at what we have going on here?" And this is a beautiful property. They had spent nearly $100,000 on their pool, and
Oh,
what they had there would never, ever become a viable pool.
wow. What did it end up costing them to get everything fixed? Or I'm assuming they got it fixed.
Oh, we tore it completely out.
Wow. So they just had to pay for a new pool.
Yeah, we tore it completely out and started over. So not including the first, 100,000. I mean, they have a $250,000 project there, which, should have been $130,000.
Crazy. And that's happening all the time. It feels similar to like the roofing industry when there's a hailstorm in Oklahoma or somewhere where there's just all these roofing guys popping up overnight. I feel like that's kind of what happened. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Demand was so high, and I think a lot of related outdoor industries decided that they would jump in that pool game. And like I had mentioned, they didn't really have to work to get the jobs, and so I think the money came very easily. Um, this got people a false sense of what the industry is, so that buy new trucks, brand new excavator, brand new skid steers, brand new trailers, and which I'm sure we'll get into. The market is changing now, and this has also caused for some of these guys who didn't focus on how to get the work or what their reputation would be going forward. It's caused them to slow down. And of course, payments still have to be made. So there's only two choices there.
Yeah, crazy.